Labor Day and politics go together, and many presidential candidates are out campaigning this morning. Hillary Clinton is in Iowa facing new pressure from her main challenger in the Democratic race. The latest New Hampshire poll shows Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders leading Clinton by 9 points, 41 to 32%. Back in July, those numbers were just about reversed. And in Iowa, Clinton's 24-point lead over Sanders in July has dropped to just 11 points. Sanders spoke on Saturday about his recent surge in the polls.
Don't tell anybody. I think they're getting nervous. I think the secretary's people are getting very nervous about the kind of energy and enthusiasm our campaign is bringing forth.
Clinton says she always expected a competitive primary race. Instead of taking on Sanders this weekend, though, she attacked Donald Trump's immigration plan and his comments on women. But the Republican frontrunner is still gaining ground. A new poll in Iowa shows he would beat Clinton by 5 points if they ran against each other next November. Former House Speaker and presidential candidate Newt Gingrich told Face the Nation Sunday that Trump is leading because his message is all about winning.
The heart of the Trump model is, I will make us a winner again. Do you want to be a winner? If you'd like to be a winner, I'll make us a winner. And then people come up with all these policy questions, and he goes, how'd you like to win? And Americans out there go, I like winning. Winning sounds pretty good to me.
CBS News political director and Face the Nation moderator John Dickerson is here with us again. It is fascinating because you keep hearing winning, and you don't hear that much about plans like on immigration. But do you think that that word is just resonating with voters?
I think, as Newt Gingrich said, that's the kind of gut-level connection that Donald Trump is making with voters, and particularly because Republicans and conservatives feel like they've been left out. I mean, they've lost the White House the last 2 times around, and winning is just kind of the basic thing that they want. And the polling bears this out, too. There was a Des Moines Register poll. 57% of the people said that their favorite candidate, that candidate would figure out whatever the policies needed to be that would be the best ones. In other words, they weren't looking for 57% of the people didn't really care about the policies.
Wow.
They just wanted the winner.
After his debate appearance, Ben Carson has been rising in the polls. And some Republican observers say that's at the expense of Donald Trump. And yet Trump himself has not yet gone after Carson. Is he going to have to, or is just ignoring this?
Well, the Trump model so far has been not to hit, or mostly this has been the case, not to hit unless somebody hits you. And so Ben Carson has been off in his lane. One of the things about Ben Carson I think is so interesting, and it reminds us, is that there are deep currents of the voters out there that we don't necessarily see. I mean, Ben Carson is not on everyone's TV screens and computer screens. But he has support in those other rivulets of the Republican electorate out there. And it reminds us just that there's a lot of other stuff going on that's going to change and shift. And I think for at the moment, Donald Trump and Ben Carson are kind of running on parallel tracks, two totally different characters in terms of their personal behavior.
Well, let's talk about some of the other stuff, like a possible Biden run. Because right now it's interesting that Trump would beat Hillary, but Biden, if he ran, would do better against Trump.
Yeah, I think we need to be those kinds of polls, and who would do better than whom are they are in a sense meaningless. We're so far away from the actual election. But I think what it does touch on and tell us is that voters do look at who could kind of go the distance.
Right.
And so that is something that's in voters' minds. But I think with Joe Biden, it really begins and ends with Joe Biden and where his mental state is about his emotional feelings about whether he's going to run. And the reason that's important is voters don't really get a chance to see Joe Biden as a potential candidate until he actually runs. I mean, right now, he's just kind of a vessel that people can put their hopes into to the extent that they feel disappointed with the current field. It's really only until Joe Biden gets over his feelings about whether he can emotionally handle a race. And then once he gets in, then voters would have a chance to get a real assessment of him. And then we would maybe get some idea about how they feel about his abilities to go the distance.
All right, John Dickerson, thank you so much. Always interesting to talk to.